Whoa! Couple of fluffs at the end even. Hey, how about that then? Oh, right. That was a speedy one. Yep, he's a bit of a workout as well, that one. So for anybody that wants to know the basics of that song, I'll go quickly through the riffs, right? And then I'm going to answer some questions and stuff. So yeah, the beginning of it is basically... Again, chromatic all running down. And that chromatic, it happens in another part of the song as well. Tale for you. I remember I wrote the music to War Against Christ. Now when I did that, I came up with a riff, and then I think it was the next day or something, I was going, I'll work on that song. And I tried, without listening back to the riff, I tried to remember the riff. And I was getting close, I was getting somewhere. There was a couple of good things came out, so I knocked them down. I just recorded them. I thought, right, I'll keep a hold of those as well. And that's how the song came about. Trying to remember the main riff. I got variations of it, but I never got bang on. I never got what it was. So I put them all together, and the music for War Against Christ was born. I took it in, glanced at the lyrics, that was it, the song was done. Okay, so that's how I did the actual riffs and the music to that particular one. And this sort of happened the same way, if you like. Had that basic riff, and then that chromatic rundown that I've just done there. So it happens again in another part of the song. So the main verse of it is... and then the bridge stays on the B chord. Listen. That's it. That's all it is. That's the basics of the sort of fast part. And the idea for this song, I wanted to, because you've got there's the sort of three elements in this song that we're sort of known for. If you like, there's the fast stuff, there's the big pounding stuff, and then there's the sort of bloodlust gallop, right? So I wanted to do a song where I had all three of those things in. So this track came about. At that point, I didn't have a title for it, and then it was only when I was listening to it one day, and again, I sometimes say that songs, they give life to themselves, and this one, I just went time to dive. Oh, that was it. Wrote it down. So it was then finding subject matter. Then I thought, when we were in Rome, I think it was probably with Empire. Me and Tony went for a walk. Tony knows Rome really well. I've been there a few times, but never explored the place. So we went out for a walk. We had, I think Tony had got a tattoo that day or whatever. And anyway, we went for a walk. We had some lunch, and we ended up sitting outside the Colosseum and just looking at and talking about it. And Tony's well up on the history of it all like that. And I know a little bit about it, but not that much. So we're talking and, saying about, the carnage that went on inside there. When you think about it, there's legalised murder that went on there for entertainment value. All those years ago, it was like, wow, it's crazy. So I thought of that. And then it was murder for the sake of art within the Colosseum, a culture of debauchery and sin, which, you look back on those times and it was God. Maniac, So that's how the song came about. Anyway, so that's all the parts for that first part. of the fast part, and then I love to think. I've said this to you before that when I write a song, I like to think, well, what's the audience going to do in certain parts of it? And it's common in heavy metal audiences these days. You go, aye. I love it. I absolutely love that. To see that the audience giving it that. So there was a part where I thought, well, we've got to have something like that to introduce. So it was and then when it kicks in, that's open, right? So what we're actually doing, we're actually going to a D, but I'm using the double stop thing again, but just 2 open strings, which is the A and D string. Kind of gives you. Okay, so we're cheating again. Yep. Now I love writing stuff down this end of the neck, right? You get a lot of that stuff. That's where Warhead came from. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff around there. And like I've said, it doesn't matter how much ammunition you've got, it's how you use it. Okay? Remember that, right? You can be limited in your vocabulary on the fretboard, you can be limited with whatever. It's how you use it, okay? Sorry, Mum, adjusting my hat all the time, it's far enough. So we got that bit, right? And then the part, I will endure to be bound, to be burned, to be beaten and killed by the sword. And apparently that, I looked it up, and apparently that is the mantra of the gladiators who would go in to the Colosseum to fight. Okay, and I'll come up with the second part myself, just added it on, and that's, now notice that's the same as the verse, right? So we've half-timed it and added something in. There's that chromatic run again, okay? So that's the halftime section. Then I thought, yeah, we need a sort of, I love that, so thought, right, so went in on the, when we were recording it, recording the vocals for it, when Tony came over, the first part of his vocals was, but he made a suggestion to try and open it, to take away from the percussive bit, so it could come back in hard on that percussive bit, and it became. And then it goes to percussive into that part. Slow that down for you. Okay, now remember, you've got the tuning now. I'm not going to tell you again. Tuning, C sharp, F sharp, B. B, G sharp, C sharp, there you go. So, and then the end part of it is and then you get that staccato. which I seen as just a big marching thing. I wanted the whole thing to conjure up that sort of Colosseum vibe and everything, the violence and the chaos that was in it. I think it sort of captured it pretty well. Yeah. Anyway, that's Time to Die. That's a quick run through for you. If you're trying to learn the song and you need the reference, just keep whizzing back. Or if you're stuck on a part for that song, right, just PM me. Let me know. I'll see what I can do. Anyway, I went through and I had a look at some of the questions. And some of the names, I hope I get them right. Paul Britton says, what is the sound card? The sound card that I'm using to go in here. It's a Focusrite dual input. So I've either got 2 guitar inputs, or I can put 2 mic inputs, or a guitar and a mic. Okay, Focusrite. It's a basic sound card. That's all it is. Okay, that goes into the Mac and goes straight through into Logic. Okay, so there you go. Adrian Heathershaw, is that your name? Right. What amps did I use for Casting Stone and Resurrection? For Casting Stone, I believe it was just all Marshall. Yeah, it was Marshall and the cabs that we had at the time. Again, like I've said, I've been a Marshall guy pretty well through and through. When we did Resurrection, we went to Germany and we were in a studio called Caro Studios, a residential studio there. I had a Marshall in there, and I was also introduced to the Engel Powerball by Charlie Barfind. So the sound you hear on Resurrection is a Marshall and an Engel. Okay, so you've got that little combination of the two. And that's what I use right away up till today. Everything that I do, Marshall and the Engel combined, right? But it's in the software. That's where I first came across it, and I've just stuck with it ever since. Okay, it's as simple as that, because I like that particular sound. I have to admit that Resurrection, the recording of Resurrection, I learned a hell of a lot recording wise then. You know, we'd been recording for years previous to that, but it was almost like, you know, being at school without a teacher. You know, I learned certain things from like Keith Nichol, if you're watching out there. Hiya, Keith. Keith was involved in all the early Venom recordings. He did my first solo thing, Winds of Change, as well. So yeah, I learned more in the Winds of Change period when I did that, when I was just working with Keith by myself. But then when we came to work with Charlie changed my studio playing and everything. Completely changed my playing in the studio. It's studio and live, 2 different animals, as far as I'm concerned. Personal opinion. Some people might disagree, but I don't know. Now, I can't remember who's asked this question. Was it you, Bat? I can't remember. The riff from Schizo, when we do the stabs, the bound, diddle-da, bound, diddle-da. Right. In A, I believe. Okay. Right? Those 4 chords which are involved in that song are also in this song. Right? You might recognize that one, right? Same chords again. Like I've said, 0 ammunition, just do a lot with it, okay? Right? That's always been my thing. It's like, I don't care what we've got, let's make the best of it, right? And now this one's going to be a challenge. Rene Cuella, is that right? I hope so. Please, I apologise if it's wrong. But the sound at the beginning of black metal, the saw, the door, you know, the tale that we've all heard, right? Now, It wasn't a huge chainsaw or anything like that, right? I think it was a small handheld mechanical saw. It might have even been a little grinder. I can't remember, right? But when you were in the studio at Neat Records, if you opened the door to the control room, there was a corridor ran along here, right? Straight across there was the live room where the kit was, right? But if you came out of the door of the studio and turned left, there was a corridor. Along that corridor, as you were walking along that corridor, to your right was the staircase that went down, where we recorded Buried Alive. I'll get to that in a minute. Staircase goes down there. Further along the corridor, there was a toilet, or two toilets. At the end of that corridor, there was a door which led into like a roof void. I believe that was above the bingo hall, or it was attached somehow. And we did a photo session in there, and I'm sure some of the photographs were used for the Bloodlust period, right? Memory, okay? But that was the door that we cut, right? I mean, you know, Mr. Woods wasn't very happy about it, but it got the desired effect. It was just a mic outside, along the corridor, boom. Now, that staircase that I said, that's where we recorded the intro to Buried Live, which was basically a cardboard box with a mic underneath it, and then just dropping earth onto the top of the box. Okay? And that's how we got the effect for that. Again, simple. There was no sample banks and libraries just to pull out, oh, we need a burial scene, let's use that one. You know, we had to create it ourselves, you know. It was the same as when I watched Rob Halford talking about the Metal Gods, where they did the sort of robot walking, and it was a tin tray or something with a load of knives and forks on it, you know. So, yeah, back then, that's what we had to do. And that's what we did. Right. Mike Barrett has said, albums that I'm not happy with or wish I'd done differently. Well, I mean, it's no secret that I'm not a huge fan of At War with Satan or Possessed. Possessed was a bad period for me and for the band in general, I believe. Okay, others can say what they want about it, but Possessed, I think we rehearsed the life out of those songs, and I just don't think going to this big fancy place and residing there for a week and, you know, having our own personal manservant, butler and all that kind of stuff, I don't think it did us any good. And like I've said before, I did read from another member that they said it was me that hired the place. It certainly wasn't, right? I had no idea about this place. We just went there, I unloaded and went, okay, we're in a big stately home. Yeah, and yeah, I went out in the morning and played tennis before. Nobody was really communicating with each other that much at that point, you know. It was a sad period. It really was. But song-wise, I think that it's got both of those albums for me, and I'm just talking personally, right? I'm not saying this is your opinion or whatever, because I've met people who say Possessed is their favourite Venom album of everything. I've met people who say that At War with Satan is their favourite Venom album of everything. I've also met someone who turned up outside a show in America with a bag with one album in, and he had waited there in the rain and pulled it out and said, this is my favourite Venom album ever, will you sign it please? And it was The Wastelands, right? So everybody's got their favourites. Everybody's got, you know, things that they're happy with, things that they're proud of. Would I have done them differently? I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. I might have a different opinion tomorrow when I wake up, but at this moment in time, would I have done those albums differently? I don't know. There's things that I probably would have done differently in that period, but you know, when it came to the music, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I know a happier subject. What do you reckon of the t-shirt? Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush. Oh yes, even with a big black print on there, right? Some jam that they did, right? This t-shirt, I believe, is from the late 70s or maybe early 80s at the most. Well, look, holes in it. And if you hold it to the light, you can actually see through it. I got this t-shirt when I was on tour in 2016, it says here on the poster. And we did an in-store signing with Necrophagia. Well, Killjoy. And It was in Fort Worth in Texas, and the in-store was Born Late Records. Yeah, very fancy poster. It's probably reflecting too much for you to see. But anyway, I kept the poster. We did an in-store sign in there, and the memorabilia in that shop was unbelievable. And I was looking around, and I did get a Kiss shirt from there. You've probably seen it. It's got the I think it's a concept poster. But anyway, the guy had said, "Is there anything you're looking for? What do you want?" I asked. Mahogany Rush. So he got this long pole and he unhooked this shirt from way up in the ceiling, brought it down. That's for you. That was my gift of being there. And it's absolutely threadbare. I don't know who owned it previous to me. It's original, but hey, it's Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush. What more can I say?